Coming to you live from the MediaPlex in downtown Windsor, this is a presentation of St. Clair College Journalism.
Hi, I'm Kenneth Bullock, and you're watching MediaPlex News Now. If you were a city councilor with money to spend, what would you do? Taylor Bush explains.
During Monday's City Council meeting, councilors discussed and approved the release of $400,000 to the wards. This came as a surprise to some as no capital funds were given to the wards in 2015. According to a report released by the Office of the City Treasurer, the money will be shared evenly amongst the wards and each councilor will be able to use the money as they see fit. City Treasurer Onolio Colucci says the money could benefit each ward where other funds fall short.
40,000 tends to be at the upper end of that range that we've had, but it'll be a useful way for councillors to do projects which maybe don't hit the radar across the city.
Colucci says suggestions will be taken from residents, but the final decision will be up to each councillor. Some suggestions could include upgrading the safety, technology, and natural beauty of dozens of neighborhoods throughout the city. Though most councillors cannot confirm their plans for the funds just yet, they said they hope to stretch their $40,000 as far as possible.
I want to kind of hear with the community because I want to make sure we get a good bang for our buck with it. That's all I care about.
In my ward, there's quite a few things that have to be done where a small amount like $40,000 could be used.
And I certainly wouldn't balk at $40,000. We'll use it this year and it'll be put to very good use.
For MediaPlex News, I'm Taylor Bush.
So, let's have a look at the early weather forecast. Overnight, we can expect some scattered flurries with a high of 0. And tomorrow, mixed precipitation with a high of 2. And snowmageddon as predicted by some. Anyway, it's likely to be a sloppy day, so be safe. Many enjoy our city parks and the public is being invited to have a say on what is needed. Jillian Toman reports.
A dozen parks in 9 wards, including Jackson Park, are slated for improvements and accessibility upgrades budgeted at $1.5 million. The city is looking for your input about ways to improve your parks.
We have a lot of awesome parks in Windsor that are underutilized, maybe because they don't have the right things in them. So if we can try and get as much feedback from the public as possible in terms of what do they want to see and start designing towards that, then we can work together to come up with something that people are going to use and they're going to enjoy.
Accessibility is a key factor in planning, and this is the first year that full compliance with the Provincial Accessibility and Disability Act will be enforced.
A lot of our playgrounds in the past have been maybe located in the center of a park where there's not a walkway to it, so all of our new playgrounds will be accessible.
Over 200 people attended a recent open house to share their ideas with City of Windsor staff on how to improve their neighborhood parks.
We're excited to hear that there is going to be a new playground in our neighborhood because we often take our kids outside of our neighborhood to go to parks that are more toddler friendly than the one right down the street from us. So we're excited that there's going to be a new one and hoping that we can have some input to be able to share about the things that we'd like to see that would be a benefit to our family.
Mike Clements, manager of Parks Development, says he hopes the improvements will encourage residents to rediscover their parks.
Get out and use the park, go for your daily walk there, and you'll meet people there and hopefully, get a little more socialization from it as well.
Residents can share their ideas about park upgrades on the City of Windsor website. I'm Jillian Toman for MediaPlex News.
Some who are having trouble making ends meet blame the high cost of food. Samantha Wigfield reports.
People around Windsor, Essex are really feeling the produce and meat price hikes in the grocery stores. So much so, even food banks are suffering to keep meat, eggs, and milk on the shelves. Vegetable prices rose to 10%, and meat was up 4.4% in this past year. June Muir, the CEO of the Unemployed Health Center of Windsor, Essex, said sometimes donations are not enough and rely on individual food banks to host fundraisers.
To eat healthy is very costly. It can be as costly as a mortgage payment, or paying your rent, or trying to decide if you should pay your utility bills or if you should buy food. Very, very hard decisions. And low-income families really do struggle.
Also mentioned was the Plentiful Harvest program, where food that otherwise would have been wasted is instead donated, cleaned, packed, and redistributed to the community. David Martin, a Windsorite who works in produce, said he often has to buy frozen and tries to shop smart.
People on their budget just buy whatever's in season, because you'll save a lot more money in the end, and plus you'll have what you could afford at that time.
So while wages generally stay the same and food prices keep going up, Windsorites have options to stay healthy. I'm Samantha Wigfield for MediaPlex News.
Dragon boat racing is the topic of this edition of 3 Minutes With.
Hello, I'm Julia Pullman, and welcome to this edition of 3 Minutes With. Today we have Nancy Elgie, who is a member of the Dragon boat racing team, the Breast Buddies. Thanks for joining us today. So Nancy, what is dragon boat racing?
Well, dragon boats are a very long boat, about 40 feet long, I believe. They have a tail and a head. There are 20 paddlers, and as well as a drummer and a sterns person. And originally it started in China years and years ago. I'm part of a breast cancer team, and it started about 20 years ago out in Vancouver.
How did you become a part of dragon boat racing?
Well, I'd read about the breast cancer survivor teams, and that it was supposed to help with the lymphedema, the swelling that often comes after breast cancer surgery. And I wanted to do everything that I could to keep myself healthy. And I thought it sounded like a lot of fun, and we saw an article in the newspaper about a local team. So I went out to practice, and I've been a member of the team ever since. And that was probably about 7 or 8 years ago.
So how do you train for dragon boat racing?
Starting in the spring and going right through till fall, we practice twice a week on the Sydenham River. We're very fortunate to have some people who let us dock the boat there. And we practice for an hour twice a week. We train on both sides of the boat so that we can exercise both sides.
How do you feel being a part of the Breast Buddies?
It's been great. We call ourselves a floating support team. We support each other both on and off the water. It's a great feeling to get the exercise for one thing, but also to have that support of other people who have been through the same illness that you've been through and can support you in anything. And we're always looking for new members. Unfortunately, you have to have had breast cancer to be a part of our team, but there are lots of other dragon boat teams as well.
How many times a year do you participate in the dragon boat racing festivals?
We try to go to 3 or 4 festivals a year. We have our own festival in Wallaceburg the first part of June, and then we try to go to at least 3 other races during the summer.
And that's all the time we have. This has been Julia Pullman with this edition of 3 Minutes With.
If you are making a pitch to get your speeding ticket overturned, you might want to watch this story by reporter Sean Prevel.
It's what's used by police to catch those who are speeding, but a recent CBC investigation into how police test radar has raised questions over the validity of millions of traffic tickets, and those who defend people in court say it's because of a lack of using a tuning fork.
When you move to a tuning fork test, there's no assumption. That's the equipment actually working, actually reading vibrations, and we know to a moral certainty it is working.
Ron Harper of OTD Ticket Defenders in Windsor says tuning forks should be used because of accuracy and efficiency.
These are fixed things. We know what the tuning fork test does. It is an all-encompassing test, and it's instantaneous. Why not do it?
While many police forces across Canada use the test, the OPP and Windsor Police do not. Constable Andrew Joulard with the Windsor Police says they only perform internal radar tests based on manufacturer instructions.
We're confident that when we calibrate these devices according to manufacturer specifications that they are working properly.
But Walter Martin from Off the Hook Paralegal says the internal test is not enough.
The only thing that tests an antenna is a tuning fork test. Without the antenna working properly or ensuring that the antenna is working properly, none of your readings should be allowed.
Although the report has put fines, demerits, and insurance premiums into question, Martin says police likely won't return to the tuning fork test until more people start fighting the tickets, something he says is unlikely to happen.
Everybody that gets a ticket, they want to have a trial. They really, deep down they do, but they're scared of having a trial.
Martin says people can be scared because challenging a ticket could risk higher fines and demerit points. Unless people come forward, the only chance radar testing changes will come is if either government orders it. For MediaPlex News Now, I'm Sean Preble.
They're closing the streets for a party. Alana Wills tells us when and where.
An open house was held on Wednesday at the Windsor International Aquatic and Training Center to provide information about Open Streets Windsor.
Well, they'll have information on the route, so they'll be able to see what streets are going to actually be closed and used, and they'll also see different areas we're calling activity hubs, where there'll be stations of interest where some people could do some free recreation.
Open Streets Windsor will close 8 kilometers of streets in July and September to let people of all ages enjoy activities such as walking, cycling, and dancing. For MediaPlex News, I'm Alana Wills.
Missy Sorrow was our special guest today in this edition of 3 Minutes With.
Hi, I'm Ashley Ann Mentley, and today we're joined by Missy Sorrow. Thanks for being here, Missy.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, you work at the United Way, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the United Way does?
So, United Way, our goal is to mitigate the effects of poverty and reduce poverty across all of Windsor, Essex. And so we do this by mobilizing the carrying power of the community and its resources in 3 strategic key areas. Poverty to possibility, so these are our food banks, addressing transportation barriers, and a new program called On Track to Success, investing in all that kids can be, so after-school programs, out-of-school programs, mentorship programs, and strengthening communities. And so these are neighborhood renewal initiatives, counseling programs, and mental health support programs.
So it sounds like United Way has their hands in a lot of things throughout the whole community, right?
Absolutely. We partner with 32 different programs and agencies across all of Windsor, Essex.
That's a lot.
Yeah. A lot of people say, United Way is well known, but not known well. And so we're invested in so many different agencies. Last year alone, we helped over 50,000 people here locally.
That's great. Now, at the United Way, you are a relationship manager, correct, for youth?
Yeah, my official title is Relationship Manager for Youth and Young Adults, which is a fancy way of saying Youth Engagement Coordinator. So I have the most fun job and the best job. I get to work with students from grade school, high school, post-secondary, college, and the university. I also get to work with the faculties, staffs, and educators at all of those wonderful institutions across our community.
Great. What would you say is your favorite part of your job?
Oh gosh, there's so many things that I love to do. My favorite part, I would say, is when young people come up to me and they say, "Oh, I want to run this activity, or I want to do this initiative." One program that I have is called a Think Global, Act Local project. So this includes a classroom curriculum where we teach students about poverty and about local poverty, and then we actually give them in their classes a $1,000 grant to do a project in the community. So the applications are open now, and student groups, classrooms are all welcome to apply. You can just go on our website. And my other favorite project is iClimb. So this event is coming up on February 24th.
Okay.
And last year there were around 2,000 students and workplaces that climbed 1,000 stairs at the WFCU Center to raise support for the mental health and counseling programs across our region.
Oh, that sounds like a great program. So if someone wants to get involved with that, how can they go about that?
So you can either register as an individual, you can come in a team, you can bring a team from your workplace, or you can even come from your school. And all you have to do is go to www.weareunited.com/iClimb to register your team.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I'm Ashley Ann Mentley, and we've just spent 3 minutes with Missy Sorrow.
Entrepreneurship in Windsor is alive and well. Sean Preble reports.
Windsor remains unemployment capital of Canada, but young adults are countering that by creating their own opportunities. 24-year-old Michael DeFazio is one such person. It started as a hobby, but now DeFazio uses glue, saws, and other tools to make new creations out of old material. DeFazio says while Windsor's been known for its manufacturing industry, young entrepreneurs are changing that image.
I love that the youth is taking over because I feel like this entire city needs a little bit more life. It needs more stuff that's up and coming instead of just everything that we've had here, because things that we've had here kind of fell apart.
It's an opinion shared by youth boxing teacher Megan Martin. Martin says the changing image is making people stay, allowing them to use their local resources.
As opposed to going somewhere else that I'm unfamiliar with, why not stay in a city where I already know people, I have connections with, and use those connections in that network to make a difference in my community.
Although youth are creating their own opportunities, Milk Coffee Bar's new owner says youth and established business leaders can change Windsor by collaborating with each other.
We can't see each other as competition because we're such a small city, so we need to work together to make the community better.
One thing all three entrepreneurs agree on is there is opportunity here in Windsor. It just takes a bit more digging to find it. For MediaPlex News, I'm Sean Preble.
To listen to the media over the past day or so, you would presume we are in for Snowmageddon. Ashley Ann Mentley gives us a preview.
It looks a little like spring around Windsor, and with temperatures reaching 15 degrees over the weekend, it even feels a little like spring around Windsor. But Environment Canada is warning that a winter storm is coming in Wednesday evening, and we can expect anywhere between 15 and 30 centimeters of snow. With these sunny skies and temperatures still above freezing, though, Windsorites are wondering if this is one storm that might just blow over. For MediaPlex News, I'm Ashley Ann Mentley.
Let's look at what we can expect. Wednesday, we will see some mixed precipitation with a high of 2 and a low of 0. Thursday, expect some scattered flurries with a high of 0 and a low of -9. And Friday, expect a mix of sun and clouds with a high of -2 and a low of -7. It's still wintertime, folks. If you combine a dream and some hard work, well, that's enough to give a girl the lift she needs in life. Denise Palaccia reports.
When you see her training people at the Sportsplex, you wouldn't know how deep her story really goes. 19-year-old Morgan Jones may look like your average teenager, but she actually has a superpower: strength. Jones started her fitness career running from the age of 6 up until last year when she switched to bodybuilding after a battle with anorexia and depression. Jones thought she wanted to become a running coach when she graduated the program until she fell in love with lifting. She says it's a better stress reliever than running. This year, Jones decided not to participate in cross country because she's in the process of prepping for her first figure competition later this year. She explained the intricate process of the competition as walking on stage in front of a panel of judges who will then judge competitors on how they look symmetrically, straight down to the color of their suits. Jones is hopeful her long-term vision of becoming an owner of her very own gym warehouse in 5 to 10 years comes true alongside her classmate and gym partner, Joel York.
She has a lot of good things going for her, and yeah, I'm just happy to be a part of it.
From past experiences, Jones wants to gear her niche market towards women who are new to lifting and want to gain strength and muscle size. She also wants to gear working out for runners as well, since she has an extensive background in the sport. Many gym goers call Jones an inspiration and their source of motivation. Most teenagers enjoy the occasional burger or a slice of pizza. However, Jones prefers a much more strict and extreme diet containing protein pancakes and berries.
Right now, I have to eat every 2 to 3 hours because otherwise my metabolism's gonna slow down, so I gotta keep it high and stuff like that. But yeah, pretty much I'm eating 6 times a day.
In years to come, Jones is hoping to open her business. She is planning to open a warehouse gym called Strong and Sassy Fitness. Women are the main target for her business, which is why Jones says the name reflects well. Jones feels she is too young to call herself an entrepreneur. However, that is exactly what she is aiming to be. She said her biggest tool for advertising right now is reaching out to people through social media and spreading the business through word of mouth. Currently, Jones and York teach a boot camp Thursday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. at the college in the mezzanine. York hopes to continue to work alongside Jones in the future when she opens her business. As you can see, I got my butt kicked. However, the duo was very encouraging, and they gave me motivation to head back to the gym. For MediaPlex News, I'm Denise Palaccia.
A small Tecumseh company is making a name for itself in the world of baseball. Christian Bouchard reports.
The Louisville Slugger baseball bat is the most widely recognized and used bat within the baseball industry. However, there's one local family and business that hope to make a big hit within the local baseball community. While it may seem like just your ordinary backyard shed, inside is filled with 12 years of memories and a family business that is built off an idea, passion, and love for the game of baseball. Backyard Bats Company is in Tecumseh and supplies local baseball teams and players with their own baseball bats. Paul Amancia created this company when he was just 16 years old after his grandfather taught him how to spin a bat on a lathe. The company has since made an impact in the local baseball community and is being continued with the help of his father.
It started with my dad, who's the man on the wall there, basically taught Paul, who was my son, up here when he was about 16, how to spin a bat. He wanted to do it when he was 7 years old, so he bought a lathe. And my dad was then, he was dying that year. So at the end of the thing, Paul made a bat and brought it up to the hospital. Everybody signed it, and it was actually pretty good. First attempt at it.
In a single summer, Paul made 100 bats, all spun by himself on his own lathe. This is compared to the 3,000 bats manufactured each day by Louisville Slugger. The word that Paul could make his own baseball bats quickly got out into the community. But with the quick success of this business, Paul could no longer meet the demand it was receiving. This proved once and for all one man can no longer do it on a single lathe.
The old days on the lathe would be an hour. 35 minutes to, Paul would spin them about 35 minutes, sand them, and then finally finish them about an hour. They can do them at Louisville in the manufacturers probably one bat every 30 seconds.
Eric Cunningham is a baseball player for the back-to-back-to-back OCAA championship baseball team, the St. Clair Saints. He, like many others, still uses his own backyard bat.
They're huge fans, so like knowing that they're going to put that kind of dedication into the bat you're going to use is awesome. And if you look out there, the big companies, they manufacture 1,000 bats at the same time, and like I just don't think they have the care and dedication and like work ethic behind every single bat like they do at the Backyard Bat Company.
Although the family business has been getting more recognition, Paul's dad said the main recipe for this success has been his son.
I would have to say so. It's the passion that Paul brought to the game, from his grandfather to myself, but Paul was the guy who got out there, used those bats, showed the bats off, and the guys who use his bats, the local guys, Kevin Mayu was another guy, played for Seattle in the pros.
Recently, the young women in our community had a chance to check out what their future might hold. Melissa Muni tells us more.
St. Clair College Center for the Arts held the Build a Dream event, which is for young women grades 9 to 11 and their parents who got to learn about career opportunities, met employers, and got to hear from successful women in the community. Noor Hashem, the organizer for the event, explained why it is important to hold an event like Build a Dream for young women across the city.
I hope that they see that there's a lot of opportunities out there, that it's important to dream big, that it's important for us to expose young women and everybody to as many different possibilities as we can, and to really not associate gender with any occupation, and to let our daughters really have the opportunity to do whatever they dream they want to do.
Because you get to see different careers that I never even thought of before, so I think it's good.
Jeanette Ham came with her daughter to the event for various reasons, one being to find out more skills about a certain field her daughter was interested in.
When I was on the web page for the school, I saw this event, and I thought it would be just absolutely wonderful because she's talked about wanting to be an auto mechanic. And I thought, well, you know what, maybe she can talk to somebody else who's done that, or there might be some other possibilities of her wanting to do something else.
Build a Dream does get more popular each year and hopes to reach out to more young women across the city.
We know that it's in significant demand, and we want to basically offer it to a lot more, as many parents and daughters as we can.
For MediaPlex News, I'm Melissa Muni.
A singer and songwriter joined Chelsea Turnbull in studio today. Enjoy.
Back up your smile, stay a while, maybe. Oh, won't you come on over, baby.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Turnbull, and this is 3 Minutes with local singer and songwriter Bobby Sprout. So, Bobby, how long have you been pursuing music, and how did you first get started?
Well, I started really pursuing music in the 10th grade,
back when I was around 15. I played my first show with my my old band. We were called at the time The First Degree. This was back in 2010, but I've been on my own since around 2012, just with my name Bobby Sproat, playing acoustic music.
Sounds fun. And how many original songs have you written, and can you tell me a little bit of the process of writing?
Oh, geez. See, when I was younger, I used to keep track of everything. I'd write out the song on my computer, and I'd write like number 1, number 2, and like the date that I wrote it. And I was so well. I think my first year I wrote ballpark probably like 45 songs or so. But to be completely honest, I couldn't even give you, like, if I had to think in the last 7 or 8 years, probably between 100 and 120 songs.
And you just reached like 100 covers on your YouTube channel, right?
Yes.
All right, that's awesome.
Writing process-wise, my head's kind of weird in the sense that like I'll come up with a song name, and that'll really help me think of, you know, ideas to base it off of, or I'll just be sleeping and then I'll be thinking in my head, like, oh, this is an idea, and I'll wake up at like 3 in the morning and just record it quietly on my phone so I don't wake up my parents. But it really fluctuates all the time.
Sounds like a good process. And what do you think has been your proudest moment so far?
Well, let's see, I have a couple. Back when I was in my band Hello Audio, our second show that we ever played was for These Kids Wear Crowns at the Blind Dog, back Blind Dog days. And it was our second show as a band ever. And we played for probably about 200, 250 people. And for 15, 14-year-olds, that's huge. But most recently, I'd have to say, ever since I started playing with my drummer Jaden, we got to finally play on a big stage together as a duo at the Walkerville Block Party, opening up for the Walkervilles, and that was absolutely crazy.
That sounds amazing. So who do you think has been like your biggest influence in music, like your inspiration?
Well, getting me into music, when I was younger, probably in about the 3rd grade was when I started teaching myself how to sing. I listened to a lot of Creed, which some people might give me flack for, but you know, everybody listens to their own kind of stuff. And I would just listen to that, swing on a swing set, and sing after school every day. It's my little fun, embarrassing story. But ever since I started playing on my own and with Jaden, it was a lot of like John Mayer, Andy Grammer, that just establishing that fun, like acoustic environment.
Yeah. It sounds really fun. Well, thank you for joining us. And if you want to see more of Bobby, visit his YouTube channel at Bobby Sproat. I'm Chelsea Turnbull, and this has been 3 Minutes With.
Thanks for tuning in. I am Kenneth Bullock, and you've been watching MediaPlex News Now.
MediaPlex News Now is a production of the St. Clair College Journalism Program.
I think it's so important to be taught by industry professionals because they know what they're doing. And they're not just teaching because they read it in a book somewhere. They're teaching because they've lived it. I choose to take control of my future, and my path is St. Clair College. I choose to be here.
I learn by doing. I learn by reacting to a situation. St. Clair puts me directly into my industry. I'm dealing with real patients, real life situations. It's not just theory, it's not book work anymore. I choose to take control of my future, and my path is St. Clair College. I choose to be here.